Do not worry. Everything will be okay. Just take my hand. I will guide you through this storm. This way. Just follow me. Do not worry. I am here to help. You will be out of this storm soon. It is all going to be okay. This is better, is it not? You can rest here until the blizzard subsides. I apologize for startling you. It must have been difficult for you to see in that blizzard. Did you think a ghost was speaking to you? Travelers often mistake me for a ghost. I cannot exactly blame them. My pale skin and white clothes tend to blend in with the snow. Come here, sweetheart. You must be cold. I will help you remove that wet jacket. Here, this blanket has been warming by the fire. It is nice and warm, right? I will go fetch you a hot drink. Stay right here, please. Here you go. Drink up. My hot cocoa will warm you up from the inside out. Now, just warm yourself up by the fire while we wait out this blizzard. Then you can get back to wherever you were headed. It should not be too long. And you do not mind spending a little time with a kind stranger, no? It is a shame that there had to be a blizzard tonight. It is the night of the full moon, but we will not be able to see it like this. You can see it so clearly out here, surrounded by a pool of shimmering stars. It is my favorite part of living so far from civilization. Without any light pollution, I see an unobstructed view of the sky. And it is beautiful. You would be able to see it too if it were not for this blizzard. Oh, but it is not all bad. It is lovely to have some company. Staring up at the moon makes me especially lonely. While it may look like it has many friends, all the twinkling stars around it, there is nothing but empty space for thousands and thousands of miles. I wish we could keep the moon company, but she is so distant from us. I suppose we will have to be content having each other tonight. As cold as it is down here, it is much colder on the moon. I have warm fire and an even warmer companion. You are wondering why someone like me has a cottage all the way up in the mountains? I suppose it is strange. Not many people live somewhere so remote. But I find comfort in the mountains. I have always loved high places. They help with my homesickness. Yes, I suppose that does mean I do not really consider this place my home. I have lived here for a few years now, but I have been alone for almost all of those years. I only get visitors like you about once a month, and even then, they only pass by for a few hours before leaving to return to their lives. Why do I not return to my home then? If only it were as simple as that. I am sure you can understand it. Sometimes it is difficult to go back on decisions you have made, even if you regret them. It is hard to admit you were wrong when you felt so strongly about something. Maybe you do not realize until afterwards that your decision hurt the ones who cared about you the most. When you have already caused them pain, how can you go back? I know I betrayed my family by coming here. They had such high expectations for me. I was meant to inherit the throne. Metaphorically, of course. But I had my sights set on something else. I wanted to see Earth. The world, I mean. I wanted to see what it had to offer. I had spent my entire life in my home, and I was destined to spend the rest of my years there too. But I wanted to know what else there was. You know, people do not come to these mountains unless they are running away from something. The mountains are a barrier of sorts. Crossing them signifies change. It means you have made a decision that cannot be undone. Gone somewhere you can never return from. So what does it mean when you decide to stay in the mountains themselves? Maybe it is a purgatory of sorts. You do not want to go on, but you cannot return either. You can only stay, staring up at the moon and pining for the world you left behind. Making difficult decisions is never easy. You should always think things through. Do not act on impulse alone. Do not act based solely on your own perception. It is important to fully understand the consequences of your actions. I know you are making a decision by crossing these mountains. You are going somewhere from which you can never return. But you do not have to make that decision just yet. You are safe here, with me. Until the blizzard stops, you have the chance to change your mind. All those years ago, I made a decision I regretted. I ran away from my loved ones to see a world I had always dreamed of. It turned out the world was not so different from my home. It did not change my life the way I thought it would. I missed the life I left behind. Since then, I have been lonely. I found it so difficult to relate to humans. They seemed so cold and distant. It was hard to get close to anyone. And I did some things I should not have in order to relieve my loneliness. I manipulated others into staying with me. They did not have a choice. They would be forced to stay with me while a blizzard raged outside. But you are different than they are you not? You have been listening to my story instead of waiting impatiently for the storm to subside. Maybe not all humans are uncaring. My name? You know, you are the first human to ask for my name. I'm Tsukino. What is your name? That is a wonderful name. It reminds me of home. You are different from most humans. In a good way, of course. I have never met a human as kind as you. You think I am also different from most humans? Well, that is... You have been so kind to me this evening. I can only hope my company has provided you with some comfort. You are such a bright person. So, is it alright if I trust you? I have told you most of my story already, but it is true that I did not include all the details. Perhaps you have already begun to understand, and that is why you think I am different from most humans. I will tell you the rest of the story, if you are still willing to listen. To start, you are correct in your assessment that I am not like most humans. In truth, I am not from this planet. I was born to the royal family on the moon. As the lunar princess, I was destined to inherit the throne when I came of age. My life was filled with luxury. I had everything I could possibly desire, from fine clothes and delicious food to adoring parents and friends. I spent my days learning to write poetry and tending to the lunar gardens. From an outsider, it would seem that I had everything I could ever want. My life was without hardship, despair, or disaster. but I could not excise the thought from my mind that I was missing something. From my castle on the moon, I could see the earth. She was beautiful. Bright blue and green. Her dark side was always glowing with the light from civilization. She seemed so alive. I wanted nothing more than to travel to Earth and see for myself the beautiful green forests, the shimmering blue oceans, and the luminous cities. I was bored with the plain landscape of the moon. I pleaded with my family to allow me to go, but they would not allow it. One night, I could not contain my curiosity. I hastily made the decision to sneak away and travel to Earth. I traveled along snow and gently fell to these mountains. The snowy white landscape reminded me of my home on the moon, but it was warmer on Earth. I traveled to the nearest town and asked for lodging, but they would not accept my currency, no matter how much I offered. I could not get a room, even with the thousands of lunar coins I brought. I wandered the town, pleading with humans to offer me a place to stay, but no one would believe my story. They thought I was lying about being a princess from the moon. The first night, I slept outside in the cold. I thought I was going to freeze to death. When I woke, I felt very little. I was numb from the cold. I walked back to the mountain where I landed. I tried for hours to will the snow to carry me back home. As night fell, I realized it was impossible. I was trapped. I sat in the snow and cried. And as I wept for my past and for my home, a fierce blizzard began. I found shelter in this cottage, though it looked very different than it does now. It had been abandoned for many years, no one willing to brave the frequent blizzards to maintain it. I spent months repairing this cottage to transform it into its current state. Every month, I would stare up at the full moon and start to cry. And as soon as my tears began to flow, a snowstorm would develop. I learned I could control the weather this way. And if I timed my snowstorms correctly, I could trap people crossing the mountains and come to their rescue. They would thank me for saving them, not knowing that it was me who caused their troubles in the first place. I would do all of that in order to receive even the smallest amount of compassion from others. But they did not truly care about me. No one would listen to my story. No one except you. I know that you have only been here a short period of time, but I can finally say I do not feel lonely for the first time in many years. Your companionship has meant so much to me. But as you can see, the snowstorm is fading. You will be able to leave soon. You wish to stay with me? So that I am no longer lonely? I could never expect such a favor from a stranger. To make that offer to me, you truly must be the most kind-hearted human. While I cannot understand why you show such kindness to me, it would make me very happy to be with you. If there is no way for me to return to my kingdom on the moon, then maybe I can make my home here with you. I will find my own happiness together with you. Thank you. Truly.